This is a question that is interesting to me, because most of you will be seeing this, or you already have been confronted with it, whether you're doing it now or it's in the future. It's a topic that's gaining momentum. I find, though, that it's a natural path. It's a normal behavioral characteristic, especially people in the United States. For people that want so badly to hang on, to hang on to the false sense of need versus the reality or the real sense of wanting to eat animal products. It's just simply a much easier alternative. So let's look at one way that you're hearing how this is answered. There you go. It must be sustainable. I mean, he thinks so. And for those of you who don't know Michael Pollan, he's considered the food guru of our country, and he's become very influential, and this is what we're hearing from him. And I, in no means, am attempting to be overcritical. I mean, I admire him, I respect him. He's done some wonderful things to bring into the forefront the commercialization of our foods, industrialization of our foods. Very talented writer. But, I mean, this is what we're hearing from him. He's on one of these platforms that tread lightly we're talking about. So if we become overly focused with high fructose corn syrup as being the principal issue with our dietary goals, I mean, it's a problem, but it's not the principal issue. And the grass-fed cattle or grass-fed livestock in general is sustainable to our own health or to the world's health, our planet's health, then I don't think we're going in the right direction. And so here's one other way to answer it. So let's bring my grid back out, my global depletion grid. And instead of livestock, we're going to switch it very quickly to grass-fed. So let's look at this a minute. Let's look at we won't look at all of them, let's look at air, or our atmosphere. We already know the situation with greenhouse gases and global warming. And greenhouse gases actually will increase dramatically as methane production is 50 to 60% higher in grass-fed cattle. It's a phenomenon or a manifestation of their enteric fermentation. It's just the way it is. And they have to be raised for a longer period of time. So I don't see how that's real sustainable. So let's look at our global depletion of our food supply. And we'll combine that with land. Okay? Well, this is easy. Land use, we saw very vividly where our land is going. Land use is simply going to increase dramatically because we already know how efficiently we're already using it to raise livestock, and it will only exacerbate the world hunger issue. Because regardless of whether we're using, all the mob grazing, juvenile growth, rotational pasturing, you might have heard another lecturer or author talk about, all the more than 30 experts that I've talked to that are PhDs at agricultural institutions or that have pastured livestock for the last 2 to 3 decades, they all agree that you can't raise more than one cow on 2 to 20 acres, depending on where you are in the country, times the 1 to 2 billion cows that are currently in CAFOs, the concentrated animal feeding operations, plus all the land that you need for the billions of pigs. You don't want to forget them. They need 1 to 5 acres per pig. You can't forget about all the other turkeys and everything else that's being currently confined, but that we're eating. So all of a sudden you add all this up, and obviously we just don't have enough land on Earth, or even 2 Earths, to support this beyond the 30 to 40% that they're already using on our planet. So it doesn't seem like that'd be too sustainable, does it? So what about our water? We already know that these larger animals need 20 to 30 gallons of water every day of their lives, and they're going to have to live longer now. Cows especially are going to have to live to 24 months instead of being slaughtered in 10 to 12 months. So they're going to use more water over a longer period of time. So that doesn't seem real sustainable. Well, and then lastly, about whether grass-fed is going to be that sustainable to our own health. We've talked quite a bit about it already, so the overall effect on depletion of our own health is going to be exactly the same effect. despite the myths that grass-fed beef are healthier for you, they're comparing it to grain-fed beef, which is not healthy at all.